Hi everybody, welcome to Granny J Clay. I am showing you a picture of what I have been working on the last day and a half, and these are cube beads, and we're going to learn how to make these today. Thank you for coming and taking time out of your precious time to watch my video. So let's get started. I'm going to use this clay that I had left over from another project, and it had all kinds of markings on it. Here's some silver markings, and here's some, I think, turquoise markings. So I'm going to use this clay to make some black beads, and then to make an imprint on them, I'll use one of my texture sheets. But I just thought I would show you that you can use your old clay. In fact, I've got so much clay that I have used from other projects left over in baggies that I just really want to be able to use that up and not waste it. So let's get busy. I'm going to roll this out on my pasta machine, and we'll get started. Okay, I have rolled out my clay, and as you can probably see, let's see, well, maybe I can just make it, I'll just lay it down here, see if I can get the camera to move close. There, now you can probably see it a little bit better. See if I can get you even closer, but you can see there's plenty of marks in the clay, and it won't matter. It really won't matter for this particular video. So I'm going to back it out a little bit again so you can see better. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, in order to make these cube beads, I have sugar cubes that I'm going to wrap my clay around. Let's see, let me grab those. They're just the regular sugar cube. And let me measure it. It's probably, a little over 1/2 inch by, square. So that's the size that they are. And this is just kind of an amazing technique. I saw this many years ago, but I never tried it. And I just decided recently I would try it and see how it turned out. And I'm going to pick up one of my beads here and show you how I textured the outside, and I'll show you how to do that in just a few minutes. And I made sure to put 2 holes opposite each other, so when I string it for a necklace, that will be all done. Plus, it allows the sugar to evaporate or to bubble out of that. When you have finished baking this piece, you're going to throw it in right from the oven. You're going to throw it into boiling water. And what happens is all the sugar within the cube just kind of begins to percolate out. So it's pretty cool. It's really not a hard bead to make. I honestly wish these were smaller. I wish they had sugar cubes that were smaller. But let's see, this ends up being about, let me see. It's a little bit big. Well, look at, you can see the size. Because the clay grows, obviously, so you can see that the clay one, finished one, is bigger than the sugar cube. But it depends on what size or what thinness or thickness your clay is when you put it around. And I think I wrapped this with a fairly, let's see, I think I was on 0, and that's the widest opening for my clay roller or pasta machine. And I'm going to thin this one down a little bit. We'll see how that goes. And I'm going to try something different too, as far as getting my texture on it. I textured these after I put the clay on them. And that's a little hard because if I push down on this side, then this side would go flat, as you can see. It didn't really get the print like I wanted it to on different places. These were my practice beads, but I still like them. I'm going to use them. But anyway, I just thought I would tell you that. So right now I rolled this out on a 2 on my pasta machine, which is the 3rd thickest setting. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to see how this works. I'm first going to cut it, and I'm going to cut it in about just over 1/2 inch wide. So I'm going to lay it right here on my sheet, and I'm going to see if I can cut it that way. I'm just going to cut some of these raw edges off first of all. You probably didn't see that because I'm probably not in screen. There we go. But I'm cutting some of the raw edges off before I start. You don't need a whole lot of clay to wrap this, but a little clay goes a long way with this project. There we go. And I'll cut a little off here too. All right, I'm going to bring it back to about right here. And I'm going to, well, let's see, let's line it up with my Memory Keepers cutting board. This is a piece of glass, in case you were wondering. And then I'm going to get my larger tool, cutting tool out, because it's quite... Okay, I found this texture sheet that I like, and so there will be just some dots on this piece, and we're going to see if I can get it placed onto this little sugar cube without messing up the texture on it. Once we have the sugar cube wrapped in this clay, and if the texture is good, then I'll proceed. If not, we'll see what I'll do then. But I don't color it, or let's see here, which one should I pick? I don't bring any color to, like for instance, this imprint until after it's baked. Okay, let's see, where am I? I'm trying to figure out my camera. It's been a while. Let's see if I can come in a bit. But not to worry if you get a lot of air in there, because, or some air in there, because when you make the holes on the sides, that will help. It's going to relieve some air from the inside. So let's see if I can do it this way again. Okay. Kind of messing up the print there a little bit at the top, but it's not going to hurt it much. Okay, make sure it's closed. And it looks like this one is closed. Okay. Depending on the imprint you put on, it can look like part of the print when you're done. I mean, smoothing it over, you might make extra lines, and it might be okay as far as, okay. So you can see I don't know if you can see that, but it's puffing air up a little bit. But look, I was able to keep the pattern that way. Now you can see right there. See what I'm saying? That doesn't want to, there we go. Just might have to play with it a little bit. My finger's warm, so it keeps the clay warm. Okay, that's good. Okay. And that's good. Okay. I think that's really pretty good. I think we're doing okay. And the imprint has stayed on. You know, this is, oh, I see one right there. This is much better than trying to print while, after you put the clay on the sugar cube. So I would say imprint first, put it on, and then play with it a little bit and see where you want to make your holes on either side. Now I happen to have a tool, a little leather tool. Let me show you this. I have these leather tools. Let me back up a little bit here if I can. All right, I have these leather tools that I'm using to learn how to punch some leather out. But within this is a small cutter, a round cutter, the smallest one in this whole bunch. It's just very small. The silver, kind of silver end down here is the sharp end. So I use this because it's a nice small hole. And I ordered those leather tools over the internet. I don't know. 6, 7, 8 years ago, something like that. I'm sure they're available still today. So I'm going to try to see where I want my hole. What side do I want to put my holes on? This little bugger doesn't want to close, so let's play with that a little bit. Okay, got that. Still want to make sure that the ends are sharp. Okay. There we go. There we go. And then this. Okay, I think I'm just going to go ahead and make a cut right here. And that's the other thing. I noticed that when I made some of the cuts in some of these other ones, I kind of got off to the side. This one, I can tell it's not really centered. But it was straight across from the other hole, so it'll work. But I try to get them centered. And here we go. Let's try it. All right, so I press down, and I'm going to give it a push and a twist. And then it pulled it out, as you can see. There's still a little tiny bit of clay around the edges there. And then you can see the sugar cube. But this is one of the holes where the sugar is going to come bubbling out of. And that clay will, some of it might stick around the edges, but I have a tool that feels like sandpaper. And I go in there and I just ream around the edges of it and it takes it right off. So now I'm going to flip to the opposite side. Make sure you go to the opposite side, get the right side. And let me see, I've got an awl of sorts, and I'm going to push this little piece of clay out first. And then I'm going to come back and I double check. Yep, there's my hole. So I want to make another hole. Let's see if I can get right in the middle of this one. And I push, 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 twist, and it comes out. Sometimes it doesn't come out, but that's not a big deal. I just take something sharp and I pop it off. But thankfully those two came off. So that looks pretty much ready to go that way. I don't know why this edge is wanting to open up all the time. Maybe those are just the holes that punched in. They probably are. So this is now ready to be baked, and you would bake at 275, and I bake all my things at 275 for a whole hour, 60 minutes. I put them on a tile. I'll show you. That I picked up at Home Depot at the hardware store. And what I do is, because I don't want them to get a shiny bottom, I put a little 3x5 card, and then I place all of them on here. And then once they're done cooking, as soon as they're done, have the water boiling on the stove and just get them out of the oven and very carefully plop them into your boiling water. And it's fun to watch them. You can see how the sugar starts coming out, and there's lots of bubbles, and it kind of percolates. And then once you're done with that, then of course you want to make sure they're dry. And so I just set them aside to dry, and I kind of tap them like this. And then turn it over and I tap it again, make sure all the water's out. I dry them off with a paper towel. It doesn't hurt your clay whatsoever to do that. So just wanting you to know that. So now this one is ready for the oven, and I'll have to make some more to go with it. All right, so it's out. Let's say it's out of the boiling water now. I'm coming back to my desk, and I'm going to determine that what colors I need to fill in on the texture parts. And what I used for these beads, let me bring them in. And all the sides are different. This is called a finger cut, in case you're wondering. I get terrible cracks in my thumbs, both thumbs. And so you can buy something called finger cuts, and you just slip them like this and you wear them. So when I'm working with the clay, I do that. But I took it off to make the video. Anyway, this is what they are. I got mine at Walgreens. They are so helpful, so helpful. So if you have that issue, get some finger cuts. All right, So as you can see, these are very pretty. I had used a little flower to impress on some of these. Some took it better than others, and like I said, when I pressed on this one, yeah, and then turned to press on, or excuse me, I pressed this one, turned it to press on this side, and I got a beautiful print on this side, but lo and behold, it squished this side. It flattened it right out. So I'm learning things about how we do this and how we don't do this, but that's what I wanted to show you today. I hope that was somewhat helpful. I can come back certainly and show you. I was going to show you my paints, show you how I do put the paint on. But what I do is I just take, these are the paints that I used for my, there was a Craftsman, or Craftsmart, excuse me, and 2 Folk Arts. You know what I'm finding? That the white shows up really well, but this is like a titanium white. It's really bright white. But this pearl color, this pink, that really shows up well. And then this is a gold metallic, and that shows up really well. See, this is the gold metallic. Isn't that pretty? And then, of course, this is the pink. So I was just trying some different colors just to see how it would work. And, of course, these were blue, so you'll see it a little bit differently. And if it's, you know, if I put white on the black, I'm sure you'll see that even better. Or any of these. So that's all I use. I just take one side of it like this, and let me just do this. And I drop some paint right here on my board, and then I just take it like this, and I begin painting all over this one side. When I'm done painting it, and before it dries, I take a Kleenex, or you can take a rag, but something soft, and I just lay it on top and lightly swipe. And then turn it, lay it on top, and lightly swipe, because you want it to stay in the crevices. And so that's what I do. And I do it until I've gotten every side completed. And then I let this dry, and I did a second coat. And on this particular side, you can see that some of the pearlescence part, the pearly part, stayed on the blue. It's pretty, though. It's not going to hurt it, that's for sure, but I like this better. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. That's as far as I'm going to go, I mean, today for that. But I just wanted to show you that if you have, you know, we didn't have sugar cubes. I mean, we never used sugar cubes. But I went out and bought some, and my husband went out and bought some for me. Sorry, that light was in your way. For me at the grocery store. And then I came home and tried them. But I don't think there are various sizes of sugar cubes. Plus, you want, the other thing I want to say is try to keep your holes the same. You don't want one to get larger than the other. And that's what I found happened here when I tried to put a texture on after I wrapped the cube with clay. So put your texture on, wrap your cube, put your holes in, you're good to go, and have it ready for the oven for 1 hour at 275. And I put these on a cookie sheet, this on a cookie sheet, you know, first the tile, and then the tile goes on the cookie sheet. And then over that, I have a tin cake pan that I put over it. And I just that's just in case. I don't think it would burn being in there for an hour like that at that temperature, but I do it just in case. So once the timer goes off, you get them out, plop them in your water, let them bubble out, let them dry off, bring them down to over to your craft table, and then put your paint on, and la-di-da, there you go. And if you have a resin machine, or if you know how to use resin, I'm just kind of learning all of that, playing with that too. It really is a difference. Listen to this. They're really hard. So, and they're hard prior to this too, but resin makes a big difference, and I think they're real pretty when they have resin on them anyway. So that is my little sharing for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again really soon. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.